Hi everybody and welcome to this brand new episode of CARDO Weekly Digest. I'm Claudio Capo, ABS and NPL analyst, and this time we have the pleasure to discuss about the main trends of the NPL market with Massimo Famularo, Senior Advisor of Financial Services and NPE at Luzzatti Consortium. So first of all, thank you very much Massimo for being here with us. So I would like to start our conversation with the general credit outlook of the Italian market. So we come from very challenging year due to COVID crisis, uncertainty due to the war in Ukraine, soaring of inflation, rising of interest rates. I would like to have your opinion about the current shape of the Italian market.
Of course. Well, according to most recent research, what we see is that basically regarding the credit quality, we are coming from mostly 10 years of basically decrease of bad loan out of the total, starting from 2012 up to 2021. We have seen a constant decrease of the stock of NPE exposure in the market. Listening to the most recent outlook published by ABI, Italian Banking Association, with Cerved, what we see is that we expect that 2022 is the first year out after 10 years of negative flows of decrease, with the slight increase that should go on in 2023, and we will follow it by a decrease in 2024. So basically what we're seeing is that the Italian system has made a significant effort to reduce the exposure and non-performing exposure. It has worked. We now have a substantial market for non-performing exposure, both non-performing loan and unlikely to pay. And basically what we've seen is that, of course, the recent increase is due to what we have seen as a strong deterioration in global outlook, especially in the scenario due to the war in Ukraine, to the start of the increase in inflation, that we were coming from 20 years of low inflation, below the 2% target of central banks. In recent months, we will probably close in Italy with a 9% in 2022. So basically what we see is that this has put some stress also coming after the pandemic period, in which we have seen governments help firms and banks to face the crisis. And basically what we see is that probably we have 1 or 2 years of increase in non-performing exposure, and so deterioration of credit quality.
Yeah, that's perfect. So you're already linked to the second part, the second question. So we have so many actors involved in the NPL market: special servicer, originator, investors. So what do you think is going to be the future strategy chosen by all the players involved in the game, and what kind of type of portfolio they're going to look for?
So basically what we see, as I mentioned, the strong decrease in non-performing exposure has clearly built in Italian a strong credit management industry focused on non-performing exposure, which has, a liquidative approach to the credit management. The challenge for next year is more focused on unlikely to pay exposure, and as you mentioned, the stage 2, because the deal is that we have a large number of players and a strong industry able to collect money for defaulted company. Managing exposure which are unlikely to pay, so are not yet defaulted, may be brought back in bonus. It's a clear challenge because it involved two kind of expertise: the credit management, liquidation expertise, but also the banking and the additional finance. So basically the challenge for next year is the ability to make some kind of triage, basically distinguishing what needs to default and need to slowly be helped to collect money, and what can be brought back in performing status. So that's the main challenging. What I see is that an increase in look for the expertise, and the special focus of this expertise that is halfway between the credit collection and banking, because you need also to be able to understand financial statements and whatever, to distinguish leading company from close to debt companies, and managing both the cases.
So now let's move to not what is going to happen in the future, but like the current situation. So one of the clearest indicators of how the NPL market in Italy is evolving is the GACS performance. GACS has been a very helpful tool in the past in order to decrease the NPL in the bank's balance sheet. So what do you think about GACS? Because at the moment it seems that overall they are not performing really well. All the triggers are very close to be activated, not of course the one of the state guarantees one, but the mezzanine subordination event has started basically for all of the GACS. So what are your opinion about that, and whether you think the government is going to renew the scheme in the future?
Sure. Well, I try not to be conflicted, so not talking about the deal I sponsored, but basically there is kind of a consensus that the GACS scheme has evolved, because we've seen that there have been substantial changes in the rules, and the difference between those deals started before the pandemic, so the very first one, which are those who are performing, who are showing the worst performance, and the deal coming after the pandemic, which are showing a better performance, basically. And the idea is that, of course, it has been some kind of trial and error process. What we see is that definitely the tool has worked, because it helped the system to deleverage some kind of, I would say, more or less we have 100 to 110 billion out of the 200, 250 that are the complete market. So basically half of the process have gone through GACS experience. So probably may even have some kind of European scheme, because we have seen that in Greece we have a similar scheme, and there are discussions. So it won't be a surprise to have a European scheme that will unfortunately will be less and less convenient for banks, because we know that the very first deal were quite convenient for banks, because they were of course they needed the authorization of the state aid commission of the European Commission. So basically there are kind of state aid. Now the state aid is reducing. We will probably still have some kind of deal. So I would say that securitization will play definitely a role in future. State guarantee will also have a decreasing importance role in this process, and that's basically what we are going to see also with the less deteriorated exposure, including LID to pay and probably stage 2.
We come from the last year where EBA released the final version of the EBA template. So do you think that a standardized approach in order to look loan data tape and analyzing all the book in a standardized way would be helpful in order to improve the evaluation done by asset manager, improving also the future performance?
Well, as you may confirm, because you are on this market, basically the standardization of template is something that works pretty much in theory, works in some countries, let's say Germany, UK, which have cleaner balance sheet and standardized process. It works less in Italy, Greece, Spain, in spaces where we have less clear data tape, so something that goes through securitization, or if you want to talk with technology, also we are talking about blockchain marketplace, so tokenization. So the idea is that the day we may have some kind of technology or finance innovation instrument that allows you to own a slice of thing that is cross-country, that will bring standardization. Below that line in credit management, we will have a different jurisdiction, different loan, different credit management practice.
Yeah, that's perfect. So also, as you mentioned, technology, tokenization, we can move to the final question. We are talking about the NPL market, which is like one of the most contributive factor of the alternative investment in general. And even though we are talking about huge amount of billions involved in this transaction, so many players, may surprise a lot of people, but a lot of stuff are still done on Excel spreadsheet. So of course Excel is providing us a lot of flexibility in some terms, but it's avoiding us using alternative data, big data, machine learning.
So basically, what we may say is that for sure, technology and especially probably artificial intelligence will be definitely a game changer. We have seen all the fuss or the buzzwords regarding chat GPT and the idea that, you know, at some point you have this disruptive innovation that help you to clean up. So of course we still need a while in a training process to help, you know, these tools work properly in context and structure that are a little bit less clean and need, you know, some cleaning process. But in my opinion, I would say that definitely in future this may really make the difference. This may be a game changer tool, and also they can draw the line between the profit and loss, because unfortunately what we know is that in some kind of paradox or the investor paradox, what we say is that sometimes in a liquid market a better knowledge may be an advantage. I do believe that also, as we have seen with this chat OpenAI, so the idea is that they give you the last mile to disrupt some kind of routine job, because, you know, we are accustomed to form online or let's say stupid automation process. Now we have the smart automation process, so you can ask to write a full text, to select specific, and they are learning with the learning process. They will become more and more precise. So this is a tool that they will be pretty much useful to bring transparency to the market, and we may expect that this will have a dramatic impact on pricing and markets.
Thank you very much. This was very insightful. You can be our host whenever you want.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much for listening. This was the last question for this episode, and see you at the next one.
Bye.